One of the things about this channel that makes me feel really good is that a lot of you have taken my advice to get your first gun, to get trained, and to go to the range on an ongoing basis to practice and get your skills honed. In this video, I want to talk about going to the range and some mistakes people make and the etiquette you should have. It's not necessarily going to be a video all about safety, which is of course important, but it's going to be a video about safety and also getting the most out of your time at the range and some do's and don'ts. Hey, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We have a lot of nice people on this channel. We really do. You'll see it in the comments. Please comment and let me know about your range experience. And welcome to weaponseducation.com. All right, you're all set to go to the range. Got your ear protection, eye protection, a couple of guns. This happens to be a Glock 19 and a 1911 45 caliber. You got your ammo. You're all set. I've called a number of ranges and spoke to their range master and asked them for ideas to help me compile this list. They're all pretty similar. Let's talk about some of my input also, because what I like to do when I do anything in life for that matter, but we're talking about just going to the range here, is I want to really focus on how to get the most out of the experience I'm going to go do. In this case, we're going to the range. We know we have a Glock 19, we have 9mm. For instance, you might have 100 rounds. This happens to be 50 rounds here, and you got 50 rounds. And you want to totally shoot 100 rounds through your 19, 100 rounds through your 1911, and that's your goal. You want it to be therapeutic, you want to hone your skills, you want to be relaxed, and you don't want to interfere with other people, you don't want them to interfere with you, you don't want to rush. You want to go in feeling, I have these goals in my mind of what I want to get out of my range experience. Ammunition's not cheap, so make the most of it. You go in there, you check in, you go through whatever protocol they might have, they might ask you to look at your ammo, that's fine. You get to your station now. Now, this is where we're going to start really talking about gun range mistakes and etiquette. You get to your station, you know, your lanes. I'm talking about indoor shooting, by the way, because that's what I'm limited to pretty much here in South Florida. You want to be neat and organized. So the first thing I do is, if you're going in with two guns, for instance, I'm not going to take two guns out at once and put them up there on the platform, one at a time. So let's say I'm starting with the Glock 19. I always take a cloth towel, so I never know what type of, if I'm going to different ranges, what type of platform they have up there, table. It might be metal on metal. I don't want to do that. So I have a little towel. I put my gun down, facing downrange, empty, and I like to keep the slide open on the ejector side, looking up so I can look at it and see that it's unloaded. Okay, so you want your section to be neat and organized. Now here I have two different boxes of ammo, 9mm 45, and just like I said, one gun at a time, one box of ammo at a time. Because some mistakes people make is they'll do this. They'll have a box of 45, for instance, and a box of some other caliber. For instance, this happens to be 9. And as they're loading their magazine, you know, they're all excited. They just shot a really good group, and they get their ammo. They're loading, and all of a sudden they grab a different caliber and they slip it in their magazine. And you talk about a malfunction. You're going to get a malfunction if you put the wrong caliber in your gun. So keep your ammo nice and neat and organized, and just the one box of 50 at a time. Once that's gone, you can get your next box of 50, and neat and organized with your gun pointed down range, slide open while it's not being used, pointed down range. You can see it's safe. Your friend that's with you behind you can see it's safe, and everyone else can see it's safe. Safety is so huge. And when I spoke to a couple of rangers today, some of the stories they told me about what people do is just absolutely absurd. You know, one of the owners here in Palm Beach County was telling me, yeah, my ceilings are all shot up. I go, oh, well, how could that be? Because these morons, they'll actually shoot their gun at their ceilings. You know, we would never do that on this channel. All right, Now, you're organized, you start shooting. Hearing protection, what I do, it's just me, I go overboard. I do two types of hearing protection. The little sponge in your ear, and then I'll do the real deal here, double with the earmuffs. I want my ears to be safe. Plus, you never know who's shooting in the lane next door to you. They might have a 500 Magnum. So I like to have my ears totally zeroed out from sound. And then, of course, eye protection. And make sure the bystander, your friend with you, for instance, has eye protection too, because a lot of people, unfortunately, have lost eyesight from flying brass. I mean, that brass comes flying back. And if it doesn't hit you in the face, it could hit someone right behind you in the face. I've actually had brass hit me into the glasses from the person in front of me shooting while I was recording for some of these videos. So you really got to have your eyes on all the time. Now, turning sideways with the gun, we know is a no-no, but when I call these rangers and I speak to them, the owners of the ranges, they say that's like the largest #1 reason why people get shot at ranges by mistake, is because someone thinks their gun's cleared, they turn around and their finger's on the trigger when it shouldn't be. Your finger's never on the trigger unless you're in position, ready to shoot down range. Get used to holding a gun like that. As a matter of fact, have an empty gun, totally empty safety check gun, and walk around for an hour with it like that if that's what it takes. At home, just walk around. No one else should watch you doing this, because this is your private thing to learn. But get used to holding a gun like that at all times. When you're at the range, it's always pointing down range. You don't put your finger on the trigger until you know that target. Now, how about brass on the ground? You just shot 100 rounds. There's a lot of brass on the ground. Sometimes, this happened to me once. I was shooting a Desert Eagle, and that brass is expensive. And a lot of reloaders, they want the brass, and I don't care if they take the brass. But I do care if I'm in the middle of my range time and some old timer, he's out there in between me loading my magazines on his hands and knees, picking up brass. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Get away from me. That's a no-no. If you want to scoop up someone's brass, wait till the tail end until it's totally safe. And you asked everyone, okay, can I get the brass now? Think about that. And also clean up your brass at the end of your session when you're done shooting. Some ranges have a bucket for it. Some ask you to push it forward past the fire line. When you get there, start nice and neat. Be real safe. Keep your gun pointed down range. Don't touch that trigger at all unless it's going towards the target. And then clean up when you leave. Start neat and end neat. I've seen a guy do this once too. He was in the lane next to me, and I see him shooting straight down into the ground, 4 feet in front of the firing line, right there. I said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I thought it was unloaded. I was checking it to make sure it was unloaded." That's not how you check a gun for safety. To make sure it's safe, you don't just pull the trigger pointing at the ground. Talk about ricochet mistakes. You just never pull that trigger unless it's pointed at the target and you're ready, and you always regularly safety check your gun. What if you drop live ammo? Ammo is expensive and it goes beyond the firing line. Or it's on the floor and it rolls in the lane next to you. Do you get on your hands and knees and start trying to scoop it all up? No. No. You can get your broom and do what you got to do to be safe. Or if it requires this, you go inside and tell, after your experience is over, you tell the clerk, "Hey, I left some ammo, it's live, I kind of want it back, it's expensive. Can you figure out a safe way for us to retrieve it?" And he might clear the range and whatever it takes to get that ammo. And another thing that comes up, if your gun malfunctions, I got to admit, this happened to me. My Desert Eagle malfunctioned to the point where, and it's an expensive gun, the Desert Eagle. I don't want to be messing with a real expensive gun, sitting there at the range and trying to finagle the slide and all that, or any gun, even if it's a high point, a cheap gun, it doesn't matter. If it gets jammed to the point where you're uncomfortable with unjamming it, what do? You don't take your gun and walk into the sales office where there's a bunch of people shopping for guns, there's clerks behind the desk. Huge no-no. Leave your gun there. It's got a round stuck in there. It's not safe. You walk in, you tell them, say, I had this situation, I'm not comfortable with clearing my gun. Can you send in someone who can help me clear it? What they'll do is they'll send someone in. He'll try to clear it on the spot. If he can't, and that's what happened with my Desert Eagle, he had to actually take it in the back room, put it on his bench, and work on it for 10 to 12 minutes. And he ultimately came back and says, yeah, you got a bad magazine, don't use that mag. And I'm glad you had me come retrieve your gun safely, took it in the back room, and did it properly, and cleared the gun. So if your gun has a malfunction and you're uncomfortable with clearing it, have a pro clear it. Leave it there. Don't be worried about it getting stolen. Most of these ranges are on video, and it's better than someone getting shot. You just gotta go in. You gotta leave it and go tell someone. What else comes to mind here? How about chatting about anything like the government or your ex-wife to people at the range? Do they want to hear about your problems? No. No crazy talk at the range. You know, leave it as our hobby. You know, leave it to professionalism. And by the way, don't offer your expertise and trying to critique other people you see at the range, just like I wouldn't want no one to critique me except my personal trainer. You know, unless there's a safety hazard, and if you see someone where you think their foot's 3 inches off or something, you know, leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Let everyone be in their peace and have their personal time there. No crazy talk. I think I said enough. If I missed something, which I know I did, please throw in your comments about gun range mistakes people make, proper etiquette at the range, and how we can all have a more enjoyable time at the range and how we can get the most out of our experience. Okay? Thank you so much, my friends. I'm here for you. My name is Tom. Check it out.